How come I can't control the air? Hey everyone, this is Rabbit Spotlight Animation Bliss, and welcome to another Spotlight Cartoon Corner. So today's Spotlight cartoon we talk about today is Avatar: The Last Airbender. And before I get into my thoughts about the show, here are a few words from the channel. Hey guys, if you want to check out more content from this channel, then tune in every Sunday and Monday for new videos. And if you happen to see any videos posted up during the week, that must mean there was a bit of animated news that we wanted to talk about. So those would be considered special videos. And if you want to chat with us on social media or see when new videos are being released, then follow us through Twitter and Facebook. And also, please feel free to join our new Facebook group, Chat with Animation Bliss, where we talk about animation with other animation fans. And now, we return to our regularly scheduled program. So Avatar: The Last Airbender is about a young boy named Aang, who was trapped in the iceberg for over 100 years. And soon afterwards, a sibling duo named Katara and Sokka ended up freeing Aang from the iceberg. And it turns out that Aang was actually the last of his kind, as it turns out that the Fire Nation 100 years ago had killed off all the airbenders, and Aang is the last airbender on sight, and he was prophesied to be the avatar that would defeat Fire Lord Ozai. So Aang spends most of the series trying to learn all four of the elements, which are water, air, earth, and fire. So what are my thoughts about Avatar: The Last Airbender? I love this show. This is like one of my all-time favorite Nicktoons that came out in the mid-2000s. When I first saw this Nicktoon come out in the mid-2000s, I was actually awed by how different this Nicktoon was from all the previous Nicktoons I've watched. Like all the previous Nicktoons I watched in the past were mostly slice-of-life cartoons like Hey Arnold, The Angry Beavers, and Rugrats, and mostly has the characters be put into wacky situations. Here with Avatar: The Last Airbender, you have the main characters actually be involved in the war, and how they're struggling trying to survive the war while trying to teach Aang all four elements in order to defeat Fire Lord Ozai. And I found that concept to be really interesting and really intriguing for this series because, again, most of the Nicktoons in the past never really dealt with such deep themes like war and how to deal with it, and you have this Nicktoon that's able to delve into all that and be such a successful show and such an interesting show at the same time. Now let's talk about the things that I liked about the show. First off, I love how the show approaches themes. Like one of the major themes with the show is that war is never the answer and how war can cause a lot of trauma for a lot of people. And we get to see what war does to all the main characters. Like we get to see how war from the Fire Nation had caused Katara to lose her mother. We see that war actually causes Aang to go against his beliefs and actually has to attack people even though he was taught to be peaceful towards everybody. And we also see one episode where there was this waterbender who was like Katara who ends up using her powers to torture the Fire Nation, so the war ended up corrupting her as a result. I just like the way that the show is being very mature about how it handles these topics and actually tells kids with a straight face, you know, this is what happens during war. People go crazy or people get killed. And I love how the show was being very straight with that. Another thing I love about the show were the characters themselves. I think these characters are very well developed and they were some of the most complex characters I've seen in any animated children's show. But there's so many characters to talk about, so I'm just going to focus on Aang, Zuko, Katara, and Azula. So regarding Aang, I found him to be a really interesting character because he's a character who doesn't want to fight anybody, and yet he's thrown into a war, and so he's forced to fight for his life in order to save his friends and family, and in order to save himself from the Fire Nation. And we get to see the series challenge his beliefs in being peaceful throughout the whole thing. Another character I want to talk about is Katara herself. I thought she was a really great motherly figure to Aang, and I like how she's being nice to a lot of people she comes across, but she also has a scary side to her, especially regarding about the murder of her mother and how she wants to find the guy responsible for killing her mother. And we get to see how those scenes play out, and we see that Katara can be very scary whenever she's trying to hunt down the killer of her mother. And I found those scenes to be really intense, especially for her character, because it's usually very intense seeing a very nice character get very violent or get very aggressive with people when something has set them off. And then another character I want to talk about is Zuko himself, who is voiced fantastically by Dante Bosco. And I found Zuko to be the most complex character in this entire series, as he starts off as being a villain to Aang, but then as the series develops, we see that Zuko is just doing all this stuff to please his father, as he was banished from the Fire Nation for disobeying his father. So I like the fact that Zuko is just doing this just to please his father, while having complicated feelings about whether he should be on the side of good or he should be on the side of bad. And then the last character I want to talk about is Azula herself. I actually found Azula to be a much more interesting villain than her father, Fire Lord Ozai, because we get to see more of Azula throughout the series, and even though she seems like a straight up villain throughout the entire series as she just likes to torture people for the fun of it, we start seeing her more vulnerable side, especially regarding her mother, and we get to see how that affected her as a character. So I found Azula to be one of the most interesting and best villains on television ever done. And then another thing I liked about the show was its animation style. I was really thrown back when the show was in anime style, which is rare at the time because a lot of Nicktoons at the time were just done in basic traditional animation and they each have their own hand-drawn styles. But here with Avatar The Last Airbender, the style is done in anime style to the point where I almost mistaken this show as an anime series, but it's not. And I just love the style and it fits so well with the serious nature of the series. So were there any problems that I have with this show? Not really. I actually found the show to be nearly perfect. I guess the only problem I have with the show was the finale, as it didn't wrap up a lot of things that happened in the show, like what happened to Zuko's mother. But other than that, I found this show to be very enjoyable and is perfect the way it is. So overall, Avatar The Last Airbender is one of the best Nicktoons ever made. I love how it approached the topics of war and how war affects people as a whole. I love how they develop each of the characters, like they were very well developed and they were very complex. And I love the animation style itself, as it seems reminiscent of all the anime shows done and has a very fluid animation that fits well with the serious nature. So I would definitely recommend you check out Avatar The Last Airbender if you haven't already. It's one of the best shows ever. Seriously. Well, that's my thoughts on Avatar The Last Airbender, and let me know in the comments down below, have you seen the show? And if you have, did you like the show? Did you hate the show? And what were some of your favorite Nicktoons that were different from the others? Please feel free to tell me in the comments down below. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Animation Bliss, and I'll see you guys later. Hey guys, like this video? Then please feel free to hit that like button. And also, hit that subscribe button for more animation content from this channel. And now, roll the credits please.